Good morning, friends. Good morning, nations. Good morning, the house of CCI. Hey, my joy is to get to spend a few moments with you every morning, and we are doing it. We've been doing this most of this year, and it's been a fantastic time. We're talking about who Jesus is and what he has done. We're using a passage out of 1 Corinthians chapter 10 that basically just tells us that the events of the Old Testament are symbolic. And then we're looking at the book of Leviticus, one of the most exciting books. Why? Because in these 5 offerings, God is showing us how much Jesus has achieved so we can understand how much is available to us. Sometimes just saying Jesus was crucified is not enough to understand the dimensions of everything that is here. So right now we're in the second offering, and the second offering is about iniquities, or it's about who humans are. And we've already talked about how that Jesus was on the cross. We've already talked about how that the carnality and the selfishness has been taken away. Now there's a verse that I want to help you understand, and this is a verse that's really blessed me, and it's in Romans chapter 6, and it starts with verse 6. It says, now, in other words, since Jesus has been crucified, one of the things that you and I need to understand that as we look at the cross, in one sense, it is not Jesus who was crucified. It was you. It was me. Jesus didn't need to go to the cross. You and I did. You and I are the ones, because of selfishness and carnality, that find ourselves in judgment if God does not take an initiative to help us. And so in the sense that you see Jesus there, really it's as if you were there. Wow, because he took your place. Now, it has a benefit, because in that crucifixion moment, my selfishness and carnality was ripped out of me, was executed in me. That's what really happened. So when we look at Romans chapter 6, verse 6, and read this fantastic verse, it says, now we know that our old self, or our old carnality, our old man, our old selfishness was crucified with Jesus, or in Jesus. Now, why was my old man crucified? Why was the selfishness crucified with Jesus? Well, the next phrase is so powerful. It says this, so that the carnality and selfishness would be done away with. Are you trying to tell me that in Calvary that God took the selfishness and the carnality out of the human heart? That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you, because that's what the Apostle Paul is saying in Romans 6:6. He's saying this is one of the things that I know, we all know, that our carnality and selfishness, or our old man, the Bible term that Paul gives us, our old self was crucified or killed, is what he's trying to say. He was executed. He was executed in what? Why? So that it couldn't work anymore, so that it couldn't run me anymore, so that it couldn't make me do what I didn't want to do anymore, so that it couldn't cause me to have problems the way it always did before. It says, so that this old body would be done away with. This old carnality, selfish body would be done away with. Not my physical body, but the carnality and selfishness in my body. Why? Because why? So that I don't serve selfishness and carnality. That's what it says. So that I don't serve selfishness and carnality. We know that our own self was crucified with Jesus, so that the selfish carnal body of sin might be done away with. Why? So that we will no longer be slaves to sin, to selfishness, to carnality. And that stuff runs our lives. Wow. Next verse, verse 7. Anyone who has died is free from sin. Now quickly just imagine that somebody comes up, I take a gun out and shoot him in the head. He falls down on the ground dead. And so you run over and I run over or whatever, kick him a few times in the side. He doesn't get offended. Why? He's dead. Let's say that you get his wallet out and get his credit cards. He doesn't get upset and try to beat you up. Why? He's dead. You can put a beautiful woman in a bikini and have her dance around his head. His eyes won't follow her at all. Why? He is dead. Now, what you're having to understand is that this death that you and I have received in Jesus, this mutual participation in the death of Jesus. One time I laid a guy down on the platform and I acted like I shot him. And so I told the guy, go over there and look at him. Go over there and look at him really close. So when he got over there to look at him really close, the guy grabbed him and pulled him into his death. You and I were pulled into the death of Jesus so that we could be free from our own carnality and selfishness forever. Forever. Think on this.